Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. It is the Friday before Christmas. Welcome to another episode of Chalkboard Chats. My name is Henry, and on this channel, we talk about all things teaching and everything in support of teachers. And I am so excited for Christmas, by the way. I hope you're all having great plans. Ready? I'm just going to turn this one down a little bit because I'm going to hit it sooner or later. I'm going camping with friends, and I'm so excited. There is a little bit of rain in the forecasts that I'm going to happily ignore. But yeah, my dog is very excited and I have all my stuff ready and I'm like, just let's go. So yeah. Today I wanted to share with you something that has really helped me. Um, the topic is help yourself. The title, I think I'm going to name this title, this video, Teachers Help Yourself. Because I feel as a teacher that I was so often in desperate need of help, and I've asked my manager and colleagues and everybody for help, but I wasn't really getting the help that I needed. It was always from work. It was always with with the school in mind. What would be best for the school? What would be best for the schedule? What would be best for the students? And there was never a moment where I am the focus of the help offered. There was only one time where I reached out to my manager and she was amazing. She was like, how can I help? What do you need? How can I support you? Um, so yeah, I feel sometimes as if education is too busy focusing on the students, and every time there's help for the teachers, it's like, how can you become a better teacher? How can you help the students better? I'm like, that's not what I mean. That's not what I need help with. Sure, I can improve as a teacher, but right now I need help with not losing my mind. I don't want to quit this job, but I'm on the verge of, I am so full with like frustration and desperation, but there is nobody in education that can help me. With colleagues, when I've reached out to colleagues, it gets to be like it turns into this like vicious circle of just complaining about the job, and we're not getting anywhere. We're not moving the needle forward. We're not getting over this hurdle. We're not solving any problems. So I've become, as a life coach, I got trained in life coaching, and I realized I have to make my own tools to help myself through all of these issues. So I wanted to share with you a process that I use and that I had to rely on this week because one of the classes was just an absolute nightmare. And I wanted to share with you that today. So if you're having issues in your classroom or you're having issues with management outside of your classroom, this one is for you. So I'll tell you a little bit first about the situation. I have during the week I have two classes. One is my favorite and the other one is my least favorite. And my favorite class is just so absolutely wonderful. They just did a graduation and they are now up into a different level, and it's just, pure joy. Then there is another class who is just following, is a little bit lower in level. They're a little bit younger, and they are my biggest challenge. They really test my patience, and they are just challenging. That's the easiest way to say and to describe it. And this week I had them on Wednesday, and I walked out of class and I just stood there for a couple of minutes, just full of frustration, and I was so angry and I was so frustrated, and I just I remember thinking I need to go for a run or I want to hit something, but I was boiling on the inside. Now, um, this happens, not, I wouldn't say often, but every now and then when it happens, when you get to the point where you're like so frustrated, so angry, so like over it, I sometimes wish I could just pick up the phone and be like, help me through this. Can I just talk to somebody? Can I get like somebody to help me with these emotions because I don't want to, destroy a printer. I don't want to kick something, and I don't want to take it out on colleagues or students, but I need to do something with it. I'll tell you the situation as well. I have one student who is pushing my buttons, and they don't respond to the classroom management system anymore. They don't care about the stickers, they don't care about the stars. But the funny thing is that the first hour they do, he is like, I can show you all the good behavior and really wants the stars and wants the stickers and is very interested. But then there is a moment where he doesn't get his way, and it's just like a flip of a switch, and it's gone. He's not here anymore. In his place is a just like a raging little boy who in his anger because he didn't get a turn fast enough. So we were doing an activity. This specific situation was we were doing an activity, and he got so excited. He was like, "Oh, I want this. I want this." And he was constantly sitting down and raising his hands, which for him is already a feat. So I got the sense that I needed to, reward him extra because he never sits down in his chair. He rarely raises his hand. But I had decided to go with, was it like one side of the class was counterclockwise and the other one was clockwise. So it was two groups, and just to, keep track of everybody who had a turn, I was doing it this way. And it wasn't his turn yet. And he threw a tantrum. And there were like some chairs toppled over. And at some point he started throwing shoes, and he started, you know, speaking really bad language in Vietnamese, using bad words in Vietnamese, and it was basically a tantrum. And I got so fed up with this. I was like, this is not, no, no. And in the past, he has done this before, but with a different combination of TAs and other students. Um, it was a lot more manageable. And in the last few weeks, it has become this big issue. So I'll tell you a little bit about the process that I use to quickly calm down, to not take this out on anybody, to keep my cool, but also to acknowledge to myself, like, this is a challenge, this is a struggle, and it's okay to be, you know, challenged by this, that this is on my plate. So for me, step one is I give myself some space and time to human. I don't need to have anything figured out. I just sit there with my emotions. I let things just be. And I don't push it away. I don't tell myself that I shouldn't feel it. I don't try to coax myself into feeling anything else. I just experience those emotions. I open up to it. And the reason why is because when you're pushing it away, it's kind of like a magnet. It just follows you back. It goes away and then it comes back in your face on the moment where it's the least convenient. And also it feels like when you're pushing it away, it's always there. So it is not something that is occupying your mind fully at the moment, but it just adds up to all the mental baggage to the back of your brain. So while you're doing something else, it's just kind of distracting you. And over the years, I've been practicing coaching and self-coaching, and the best remedy for intense emotions is opening up, saying, okay, I open up the doors, come in. This is the human experience. This is, and then I describe it. This is frustration. This is anger. This is the human experience of me right now. And to give myself something to do, I internally describe what's happening as a emotion, what the sensations are. So I was just standing there and I was like, oh, so much heat. It was so hot here. And I couldn't stop pulling my eyebrows down, and I was just like scowling the whole time. And while I was describing this, I was just, reorganizing some of my stationery stuff. Then I was walking over to the bin, and I wasn't really interacting with anybody. I was just keeping myself busy while mentally telling myself, describing to myself what the emotions were. It's like, oh, these eyebrows are keep going down, and it's hot on my cheeks, and I feel like my shoulders are going up, and I want to like hunch. And so that was for 5 minutes. And the further open the doors, the more quote unquote welcome you are to these emotions, the easier they flush through you. And the faster they kind of like release their hold on you. It kind of feels like a very intense wave, but as soon as it's over, you just feel like a little bit of the, I don't know, back and forth of the subtle waves that come after, and the intensity is gone, and it's so much more diluted and watered down afterwards. So that is the first step, to human first, to make that space and to say, okay, I'm opening up the door for all the anger. I'm not reacting to it. I'm not acting it out. I'm just describing it to myself. Here is some heat. Here is some tension. My eyebrows are going down. I constantly want to scrunch up my face. And while I am describing that, I'm just kind of like stepping into acceptance, where I'm like, yep, this is what we're having right now. Now, notice how I am not thinking about the student, what they have done. This is all about me. I'm just focusing on me. And what's so important is that when shit hits the fan, our first instinct is to, point out to the world and say they are doing this to us. And like it's natural. If the students didn't behave like this, I wouldn't be angry. So sometimes in class, I'm like, you should not be doing this, you shouldn't be doing this. But when I give some space to myself first, all of a sudden I am not being outwardly angry at the world for being this way. I'm not how do I say it? I'm not negotiating with reality. I'm not mad at reality. I'm just experiencing these emotions and being with myself going through it. And as I am doing this, I am starting to hear the internal monologue, what is going on. And the internal monologue, when it's describing the situation, I always think like, describe it twice. Describe it as the soap opera that it is, the soap opera that it feels like it is. It's like this big dramatic retelling, and oh my God, the student did this, and how dare they say that? And then, oh my goodness, it got even worse. And then they threw stuff, and then they, this other person got involved. And as I am retelling the story and going over it, what happened, I noticed that my brain is, of course, being the very dramatic version of retelling the dramatic version of the situation. And the more you do this, the more you realize that there's also an option for a different version, where you're almost very clinically looking at, yeah, but what really happened? What is the truth? What can everybody agree on? Well, what everybody can agree on is actually very boring. The student took 2 steps, used his hands, the chair changed directions and fell over. The student opened his mouth, said a couple of words, spoke words, then made his shoe airborne. That's it. Now, remember that you're going through these emotions, and only start retelling the story in the clinical way when the intensity of the emotions are gone. Because when I am in the heat of my frustration, all I want to do is retell the most dramatic and juicy part of it so that I can get, a lot of like outrage from other people. And like, no, the world should be different. No, the student shouldn't behave like this. But as I am calming down, as those intense emotions just kind of like flow away, I get to step back and be, hold on, this is the dramatic version of things. And these are the actual things that happened. Then when you're looking at the difference, for me, what came up was that I actually heard me thinking about me. And it was saying things like, this shouldn't happen in my classroom. How could I have let this go on for too far? This isn't fair to the other students. What else? There were a couple of things that I noticed that I was thinking about this situation, which caused the anger in the first place. So all of a sudden I was like, wait a second. I think I have had a hand in this, that I caused this behavior, that I didn't stop it in time, that I didn't, and I just got internally angry at me that he was proving me right. And as soon as I opened up to the conversation with myself, I was like, wait a second, am I punishing me, the teacher, for what a student does? The student has complete control over their own emotions. The thing is, they don't. And this is the control that they are showing. And he decided to act out his anger. But that is his choice. Nothing in me enabled it. I didn't say, I think it's a great idea. You should throw a chair. You should now throw some shoes. So I was mad at me. I was disappointed in myself because I felt that I was a bad teacher, that I wasn't able to curb his anger, that I should have been able to prevent this, and that we now spend way too much time and energy focused on him, and that I had neglected the other students. And all of a sudden, it just became so clear to me what I was going to do next. And when I got to that point, it was like, oh, but then I'm done. I am done being mad about this situation. I am finished feeling sorry for myself. And I have no anger towards the student anymore because now I understand what happened. I may not understand his side, his choices. That's not the important part. The important part is that I now am through the anger, through the frustration, and I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. I'm the teacher. What do I want to do? How do I want to show up next? And with that, do have to say that part has to come with a bit of compassion and curiosity. Like, what is happening inside? What are my thoughts? What are my feelings? Why is this happening? And when that clarity hits, all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, then we're done with this situation. I now know what to do. And immediately when I reached that point, by the way, this was like 10 minutes later. I did all of this in 10 minutes. And I decided to engage in a conversation with management, and I was going to send an email seeing if we can invite the parents just to give them just some clarity around the situation, but also give them a sense of ultimatum that things needed to change, or we were going to say that this is not the behavior that we want in class. So if the student could then be removed from this class. And all of a sudden I was like, and it doesn't even matter what happens from here. I know what to do. And I will have my own back regardless of what is going to happen next. And I know that this is what is in the best interest of the student, but also the other students. And I felt so much more, determination, but also a sense of duty. I was like, no, I am the teacher here, and I need to kind of like raise a flag, say, nope, we're heading into the wrong direction. This isn't fair to the other students. I now need to take like course correction, because the other students are now suffering because of it. And I felt very, I don't know, very confident. I was like, yeah, I know what to do, what is next. I know what to do, what is best. And we got this. So this was 10 minutes. Then what's funny, because when I got so angry, I was thinking, oh, I can't wait to meet up with my friend later and to share this with her. And she's going to love it. And it's going to be dramatic and so fun. But then when I actually met up with my friend, so I went home, picked up my dog, I saw my friend at the burger place, I completely forgot about it. Because I had come to this point of confidence and duty, and I was like back into feeling good about myself. And I was like, I feel so much better. This situation is now in the past. I don't need to be angry about it anymore. I have resolved it for myself. I have never even mentioned it to my friend. I forgot because I was so happy to see my friend. My dog was super happy to see my friend, and we had such a wonderful evening. And I just didn't think about work anymore until the next day, where I finished the other class, my favorite class. And I was like, wait, I remembered the situation from yesterday. My next step was to send an email. Send an email in less than a minute, typed it all up. This is the situation. Please advise. And I'm going to see these students again tonight. And I have no sense of dread. I'm also not necessarily looking forward to it, but it's one of those things where, yeah, this is the challenge at my work. And I can overcome challenges. We can work through this. And whether or not the student is there tonight or not, I don't really think about it, because we will see when the situation presents itself. And maybe the student has a wonderful day and behaves. Maybe the student completely loses itself and shit hits the fan again. It's like, it doesn't matter, because right now I don't see the student. And when I do see the student, we'll take it from there. So that is my 3-step process on how to help myself in a time of desperate need of some help. So step 1 is to make sure that you give yourself some space to human. And to human is to feel the emotions, to make it easier for yourself and to give yourself something to do. Describe what the sensations in your bodies are. And sometimes I like to just, have my hands busy too. I like clean up some stuff, or like I organize some stuff and describe internally what is happening, using sentences like, this is anger, this is frustration, these are the sensations, it's hot here, heavy here, I feel pressure there. And you just go through it until you feel the intensity lessen. Then when the intensity lessens, have a look at the dramatic retelling of the story, like the soap opera version, and the clinical version. Like, how would you describe this in a court? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this person took 2 steps and then said these words. And then they turned around and did this action with their body. Like the soap opera version, the court version, where it is devoid of all emotions, but just the facts. And then when you have those 2 retellings on your paper, preferably, you can open up to a conversation with yourself about your thoughts. What is behind this? Why did I feel so frustrated when this happened? And give yourself some compassion and curiosity, and have a look what is happening on the inside, because all the power is on the inside. The outside world just does what it does. We don't have control over it. I cannot steer the student necessarily. All I can do is, how do I want to show up from here? What happened? Well, what happened was that this student had trouble following the classroom rules, and I took it upon myself that I what were the thoughts? Oh yeah, I had let this go on for too long, and that I wasn't a good teacher, and that it wasn't fair to the other students. And Zoom is like, Yeah, can you put it down, please? I don't know if you can see it. And now that I have had a look at those thoughts, I'm like, wait a second, that's not really true. I've had conversations with management in the past. I've had conversations with other teaching assistants, and I've tried different ways with classroom management. I have tried different rules. Actually, half an hour before his tantrum, I tried something else and it worked like a charm until it didn't. And then when I realized, wait a second, this is the dramatic retelling, this is what actually happens, and I'm feeling all of these emotions because I worry I'm not a good teacher. I was like, oh, wait a second. We don't need to worry about that. I'm a great teacher, and sometimes I'm a bad teacher. That's okay. I am here all for it. Now, how do I want to step back into the role of teacher? What is my responsibility right now? What is my ability to respond to a situation? I am the teacher. I step back into determination, sense of duty for my other students. And from there, I took the next steps and it just all cleared away. And now it feels like a story that happened months ago. We're not Friday, this was Wednesday. And it's like, we'll see. And for tonight, I'm like, we'll see what happens. Maybe I have another lesson and maybe I have another difficult obstacle to overcome. And the thing is, I have 2 hours with these students. We will overcome it together. And at the end, I will go home and be like, it's Christmas time. So that's what I have for you. My 3-step process to help yourself through these difficult situations at work. I really hope this helps. Please let me know in the comments below. Have a wonderful Christmas. I'll see you after. Bye-bye.